Welcome to Rat Girls Podcast. I'm Abigail Jensen, and today we are joined by Lorraine Gallo. She's a comedian, an eating disorder recovery advocate, and host of My Body, My Jokes podcast. Morgan, thank you for coming on the pod.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so excited. Tell me about the comedy scene in Colorado. What's it like?
It's pretty vast. I mean, a lot of people don't think that there's comedy in Denver, but there is. It's just like not a typical city you'd think of when you'd think of like performing arts. But there's like plenty of clubs. There's a lot of independent shows. It ebbs and flows, but it's a good scene.
Yeah. Did you have to go through the open mic thing originally? Because I did that in LA when I first moved out here, and it was brutal.
Yeah, I didn't start comedy in Denver, so I didn't really have to do that here. But I definitely still did the open mic thing that everyone has to do. And then now I don't do it anymore because I hate it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not fun.
You always get like one guy coming on who's like yelling at the audience for not laughing at him. And you're like, well, you're just like
Hmm.
scaring all of us. Why are you
Yeah, it's
traumatizing
super
us
cringe.
and
It's
holding us
super cringe.
hostage? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you start doing comedy?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, whoa. Is that where
Hmm.
did you go to school out there or from there?
No, I'm from Boulder. I just lived in Florida for a few years after graduation and I just like randomly started comedy down there and then eventually just moved back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel like Colorado feels safer to me than Florida. I don't know what I'm
Oh,
basing
for
that off of.
sure. Oh,
Just
yeah.
the scariness of Florida. Yeah, and then you have turned your comedy into also talking about your eating disorder recovery.
I have, yeah.
What's that? What was that transition like? How did you decide you wanted to like open up about that?
Um, I just started like doing jokes about my body because they say write what you know, and at the time like I had already been struggling for so long and I didn't start explicitly talking about like I didn't start with my eating disorder. I kind of started with just like oh, the trial and tribulations of having big boobs or oh, being curvy or like writing jokes about like kind of issues that have to do with like being a woman. And then it slowly evolved into once I started recovery, talking about like the actual eating disorder and then starting the podcast, which is like kind of separate from my comedy. So yeah, I guess I just realized like I want to start talking about it. You caught me at an interesting time. I'm not gonna lie. Like I might be coming across as very low energy right now because I actually am like considering not doing comedy anymore. So I don't love
Oh.
being introduced as like a comedian and it's not really like something I identify with anymore. But yeah, it's been like a fun ride for the past 5 years.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so
Mhm.
sorry. I should have asked you beforehand, just double checked that you what you wanted to be introduced as.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I put on my profile like I have comedian on there because that's what people know me as and that's how I've built my platform, but like
Mhm.
I don't like do comedy the same way I used to anymore because I have found that like the community and the process of comedy is like really mentally draining. And especially when you're a woman and you're a gay woman and you're a woman who's going through eating disorder recovery, like people don't have a lot of sympathy. And so I'm kind of at a point where I'm delving more into like professional dance and like acting, and comedy is more of like kind of what I do if I have time, I guess.
Yeah, I saw you posting about dancing and how you were like getting back into it and how it's been really
Mhm.
fun and freeing.
Yeah, yeah. That's like my real passion in life and it always has been, but I got into comedy because you kind of get to an age in dance where it's like, okay, so you either have to start teaching at a
Mhm.
studio or you have to like go the professional route. And sometimes the professional route is like really difficult, or there's no opportunities where you are. And when I was in Florida, there were really no opportunities. So I'm lucky that Denver has a very bustling dance scene that I can get into.
Yeah, that's great. The I totally relate with the comedy. I left comedy like right before the pandemic. It was so toxic. I was just like, "This is
Mhm.
not for me. These men are making me
Yeah.
uncomfortable." There's for some reason, there's, like, every other man who goes on stage wants to be edgy, and so he says the N word, and it's like, "What
Mhm.
are we doing
Mhm.
here?" And yeah, it was just rude to women, and it was, like, not a safe space, and then when, like, TikTok popped off and I realized I could, like, do little bits behind my phone, I where the men are, like, a screen away from me as opposed to in
Yeah.
person, it was like, "Oh, this is what I'm gonna do," instead of, like, put
Yeah.
myself out there to be around these men that I, like, don't want to be around.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's very toxic and it's like just it can be really fun and I hate to like I never want to make comedy seem like this terrible thing that women can't do because it is like obviously very fun. It can be very lucrative. It can be very exciting, but I think after all the things that I've gone through, I'm kind of just like, yeah, I think I've done everything I've wanted to do with it.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
nice to know, and then it's like, protect your peace, and, like, I realized I was
Yeah.
like, "This isn't the lifestyle I want." I rather have a lifestyle than a job you know, than be, like, a successful comedian or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
So I relate to that a lot, but it's so fun that you're getting back into dancing. I wish there was like adult dance classes for people who don't have experience like me, who like just
Hmm.
want to look stupid, like a Zumba, but like not Zumba.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There I mean, I can imagine LA probably has, like, beginner level classes, it's such a big city. I mean, if Denver has it, they must have it.
Yeah, that's true. And so what like style of dance are you liking right now?
I am mostly doing, like, burlesque and jazz and, like, hip hop, like, choreography. I
Cool.
grew up dancing hip hop and doing, like, some technique and, like, jazz, so now I'm kind of, like, entering my, like, femme girl era. I'm, like, learning to dance in heels and learning how to do burlesque and trying to get back, the flexibility I once had at 16 or whatever the fuck, but yeah, mostly, like, I would say jazz and hip hop, I guess, are the 2 kind of
Yeah,
mediums right now.
that's
Yeah.
great. Well, and I love burlesque too cuz like I feel like burlesque in itself is like a little like it's skit and it's like comedy and you
Mhm.
can make it fun.
Yeah.
So it's like a great way to combine multiple of your skills.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So getting into our main cheese is being this is gonna be my transition, is being I'm like, let me see, is being dancing, is that, like, help you with eating disorder recovery? That's our main cheese of the week. Is that helpful to, like, getting back into your body and feeling good?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been a dancer my whole life, so, like, I've gone through many iterations of, like, loving dance and then, like, hating dance and feeling like it was, like, a punishment for my body or
Mhm.
feeling like I was only doing it to burn calories. Whereas now, like, I really view it as, like, something that helps me, kind of get the, like, creative itch scratched, and I
Yeah.
just love performing, and I just love, like, being on stage, so because I have such an extensive background in dance, it feels the most natural to me, um, and I think the thing with burlesque that has really helped is, like, burlesque isn't necessarily this, there's not a huge barrier to entry. Obviously, a lot of burlesque dancers are dancers first, but there are some burlesque performers who, like, they aren't really dancers and they don't really train, they just kind of, like, do almost like a drag number, and
Mhm.
so it's very body positive, and it's helped me wear different things to dance class or on stage and feel comfortable and like realize that no one's really looking at me that way. Like it's supposed to be a celebration. It's supposed to be silly. Um, so it's allowed me to kind of embrace my body in like a different way than I used to.
Yeah, that's great. Like, knowing that your body's here for more than just being, like, sexy and for, like, the male gaze is, like,
Mhm.
such a cool revelation. It took me a long time to, like I was using my body as, like, validation kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
it and then when you're like, "No, this is for me, not for anyone
Yeah.
else," that's such a huge revelation.
Totally, totally.
And so what made you start your recovery? What was the, like, I guess, straw that broke the camel's back that made you be like, I wanna, work on myself right now?
I was on tour at the end of 2023. I was opening for someone on the road, and it was a national tour, and it was the most exhausting thing I've ever done in my life. Would not recommend. And even though it was like fun, I was really isolating myself
Mhm.
because, when you're on the road, like you're alone, like you're in a hotel room by yourself every night. You don't know a lot of the cities you're in. You don't know people in the cities you're in. And the person I was opening for, like, um, we hung out, but we weren't, like we weren't like in each other's hotel rooms, like, painting each other's nails. Like it was not that
Yeah.
type of situation. So I was really alone, and I was really engaging in eating disorder behaviors. And I was like smoking a lot of weed and getting high and just not paying attention to like my body. And I ended up getting really sick. Just because I wasn't sleeping well, I wasn't eating well, I wasn't drinking enough water. And so by the end of the tour, I had to go to like urgent care and get like antibiotics, and I was like sick and feeling horrible. And um I came home, and I was talking to my therapist, and she literally was just like, "So what are we going to do about your eating disorder?" Because she had known me for a long time, but I had never really like started recovery. I kind of just was going to therapy and just like talking out of my ass every week. And after that day, she hooked me up with a nutritionist and a psychiatrist, and I started seeing them and just like learning about what recovery is and what it looks like. And I think I was so desperate to feel good again that I
Mhm.
was like, okay, I guess, I've been doing this for 15 years. Like I've clearly hit rock bottom several times now. Um, and so I just like kind of like hit a wall and was like, all right, well, I guess this is my only other option now.
Yeah, it's so interesting that your body's, like, literally telling you, like, "We cannot like, I cannot function this way."
Yeah. Yeah. Literally.
It's like begging for help, and then that's so one, it's so cool that your therapist was just, like, straightforward. Because I feel like sometimes, you know, people talk around things, but the fact that they were just like, "We gotta do something about this," is really
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah. If she hadn't have said that to me, I think I would have kept just gaslighting myself into thinking that what I was doing was okay. And it would have been so much worse.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so what did those, like, first steps with the psychiatrist, with the nutritionist look like?
Well, the psychiatrist, I had been to several psychiatrists before, and just kind of in and out of like since I was 17. Like I knew that I had an eating disorder, and I there were times when I wanted to try to go into recovery, and I just never did it the right way. And so they basically were like, okay, let's have like a reevaluation of everything. At the time, I wasn't on meds or anything. And she was able to diagnose me with ADHD. And um, I started the long process of like figuring out what meds work for me. And so that took a long time to figure out, like, do I respond better to like stimulants? Do I need something that's
Mm,
going to help my ADHD and my anxiety? And I'm still figuring that out. Like I've switched psychiatrists, and now I have a little bit more better understanding of my diagnoses. Working with a nutritionist has been pretty hard. I've seen a lot of nutritionists, and like I kind of hate it, to be totally honest. I hate going to nutritionists. I've been to so many that act like they're they know what they're doing, but they just also have an eating disorder, and they don't
oh,
understand that
yeah.
like what they're doing is like helping you continue to have an eating disorder. Because the problem with nutritionists is that there are a lot of people who can get like certified,
Mhm.
but if they still really adhere to diet culture, and if they still really adhere to the idea that like losing weight is always going to be healthy no matter what, or cutting carbs is always going to be good, or limiting your dessert intake is better than not, like that, then they're not going to help you. Whereas this nutritionist I see is someone that is really, really, really engaged in the eating disorder recovery community specifically.
Yeah.
and really like teaches the tenets of intuitive eating and is body positive and um is very like anti, BMI and weight stigma and um it's been hard, but she basically kind of showed me like, okay, so if you wanted to do a meal plan, we could do this. If you wanted to
Mhm.
like just show me what you're eating every day, like let's do that. So I there's a recovery record app that a lot of people use where you just take photos of what you eat and then your nutritionist sees it every week and you kind of just talk about it. So
Yeah.
I've been lucky that like I wasn't given like a strict meal plan to follow and I wasn't told like you have to eat this type of stuff every day. It was more just like let's just see what you're doing now and then let's like
Yeah.
tweak it. Um so yeah, and then now I'm like a year and a half in and I see my therapist and my nutritionist every other week, which is really nice. And then I see my psychiatrist like once a month just for like med management.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, it's great that you found a nutritionist because I agree. I've seen nutritionists who are, like, had me counting calories. I was like, "This is the opposite of what I'm trying," or macros. I was like,
Yeah,
"What
it's
is the"
not helpful.
not helpful. And then I finally sought out, like, yes, a eating disorder recovery nutritionist who specialized in intuitive eating. And I had seen intuitive eating online, and I don't know why the word intuitive makes me think like Reiki. I don't know. It made me think like, is like,
Yeah,
what is this? Like, is this a real thing? But then when you like actually talk about it, it's it's like life changing.
it is. It really is. Yeah. I tell everyone to read the intuitive eating book. I think it's really important.
That's my absolute like eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full changed my life. Like just that
Mhm.
concept. I had forgotten that's
Mhm.
why I'm meant to be eating.
Yeah, yeah.
But so it's so nice that you found someone, and it's interesting that you got the ADHD diagnosis because I feel like that is something that sometimes can go hand in hand with like obsessive food thoughts just from like my own experience and talking to people with ADHD. Did you find getting treatment in that helped with thoughts around food?
Um Not really, no. I mean,
Mhm.
my ADHD I feel like hasn't really been tied to my eating disorder. It's more tied
Yeah.
to like my perfectionism and like my work ethic, but I know that it definitely does affect some people that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and so if anyone's listening who's like realizing that they want to start getting help, where would you tell them to start?
For an eating disorder?
Yeah.
Um I would probably, well, I guess it really depends because I think there's always the option to like call a helpline or to like go
Mhm.
on to like, the National Eating Disorder Association's website and like they'll have like an intake form where they can kind of be like, "Oh, are you worried you have an eating disorder? Take this like mini quiz or whatever." But I think sometimes those can feel really impersonal and like
Mhm.
it's hard, like anyone can go on the internet and like self-diagnose themselves with something and then never do anything about it. I think the best place to start is to like talk to someone that you trust and tell them so that you have someone
Mhm.
to keep you accountable and then work with that person to then kind of like figure out, okay, should I go to my, doctor? Should I go to like my therapist?
Mhm.
Cuz I have found that because eating disorders are so secretive, like they thrive in secrecy and they thrive in
Yeah.
isolation. I think the first step is to tell someone and to be like, "Hey, I think I might have this. Can you help me maybe like figure this out?" And like then, call a hotline or whatever and keep yourself accountable because it's really easy to just be like, "Okay, this seems too overwhelming. Recovery seems like too much. I'm just not going to do it."
Yeah, total and that's why I feel like sometimes it can be good also to like break things down in steps. Like I feel like make it more attainable. Like I feel like it's great that you like is that something that the nutritionist or your therapist helped you do is like fine, okay, first step we talk about it, we admit it, and then second step is like we read the intuitive eating book, we talk about where this came from?
Um Well, I think I had a very like unique experience because like I knew I had an eating
Hmm.
disorder. I knew I had one for years. Like I was not I told people about it. I was open about it. There were many times where I attempted to go into recovery, but because I wasn't like seeing professionals at the time, I obviously didn't know what I was doing. So for me, it wasn't necessarily like a step by step thing. It was more just like, I know that I've been struggling with this for a long time, and I can't keep thinking that I can just do recovery without
Hmm.
like going to a therapist or going to a nutritionist. Like, I need to actually get professional help. Um, but I definitely think reading the intuitive eating book helped me a lot. I read a few books. I read Intuitive Eating, I read Health at Every Size, I read Body Respect. I read a few books that are by like some independent authors, like influencers and like body positive comedians. And
Yeah.
I think over time, I just like wore myself down enough to finally get help. Um, and then from there, it was more of like, okay, let's set you up with these professional people, and we'll start looking at like what you're eating, how you're
Hmm.
eating, what kind of movement are you doing, what's your relationship with movement. It's so unique for everyone. Like I ask my
Right.
nutritionist all the time. I'm like, am I doing this right? Like I don't understand. Should I be talking to you about what I'm eating all the time? Should I be texting you in the middle of the night if I feel something? And her answer is always like recovery is different for everyone. Like she has some clients that, they have to like check in with her daily because they
Hmm.
still feel a certain way about food, or she has some clients that aren't allowed to exercise right now because they have such a volatile relationship with it, or recovery is like so unique,
Totally.
which almost makes it harder because then it's like you don't really have a playbook to go off of.
Right. You're like, I want a hand, especially for me who's like perfectionist Virgo, like I want a handbook. Like someone just tell me the steps and
Mhm.
I'll achieve them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting. So how did your like, because it seems like practical things were like reading, body self-acceptance books, talking to therapists, talking to a nutritionist. How did your like mentality change doing all of those things?
Mm. Um I mean, it's definitely been a long journey. I think back to when I started recovery, and I think my mentality was like so different because when I started, like, I was really desperate to break out of my eating disorder. I genuinely felt so stuck and I felt so unhappy. Especially because at the time, like, I was still really dedicated to comedy, and because it was affecting my career, I was really
Mhm.
upset with myself. And so I was like, okay, I need to clearly, like, figure this out if I want to be a comedian. But I think my mentality started to shift when I was like a few months into recovery, and my behaviors had started really spreading out from each other, and I started realizing that I could like eat normally and live a normal
Mm.
life, and like it was so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
um which sounds stupid, but like I don't know, I used to obsess so much over like how many days a week did I have dessert, or like
Hmm.
I had really bad like binge eating behaviors when I was upset, or like was constantly abusing marijuana and like binge eating when I wouldn't allow myself to like feel my feelings. And as I stopped doing that, even though there was a part of me that like mourned the loss of like being able to engage in behaviors, I gained the ability to like go out with my friends and eat out and like not freak out about it, or not think about how many calories were in like an alcoholic drink, or
Yeah.
I'm still working on like my body confidence, or like the way I look in clothes. And that's been a really big thing because part of my eating disorder was like the binge restrict cycle. So I was
Mm.
constantly like losing and gaining weight for years and years and years. So I was going through periods of time where like I would buy a pair of jeans and then they wouldn't fit me in 2 months. And then I would go through a phase of like restricting and then they would fit me. And then so having clothes that have like fit consistently for a year and a half is really new for me. Being able to consistently fit into like a bra, or like
Mm.
even dance clothes, and them not become too tight from gaining weight, has been like really relieving.
Yeah.
Um and so I think now my mentality is like, even though there are times when I still struggle, I'm just really thankful that I've gotten to like do recovery and choose recovery, because a lot of people don't have the means to do that.
Yeah, it's so rewarding when you think about like how long it's been since the last time you I don't know, like my experience has been like I'll have just like whatever, a cookie after dinner. And I think about, oh my God, like if this were 3 years ago, I would have been obsessing about the cookie. I would have been like, oh my God, I already ate a cookie for today. I ruined the day. I should,
Yeah.
eat the whole pack of cookies and then get them out of the house. And it's just like when you realize how far you've come from like certain behaviors, even if they pop up there occasionally, it's like, oh my God, this is like what life's supposed to be like. This is how it feels like to just like not obsess.
Yeah, it's really like weird almost.
Yeah,
It's like so relieving, but it's like this weird absence, like all of a sudden you have brain space for so many other things.
right. I remember once telling my therapist, I was like, I don't remember what I'm supposed to think about outside of this.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
and she was like, whatever makes you feel good. And I was like, I'm used to like going to a restaurant, like trying to figure out the calories, like not paying attention to my friends, what they're saying, because I'm like focused on the calories in front of
Yeah.
me. And it's like, oh no, like not doing that helps me be engaged with people around me. And like, how much cooler is that?
Yeah. That's so real.
Was there a moment when you were like, oh, I feel like where it clicked with you with how far that you've come?
Um yeah, I guess I would say like last summer when I was maybe like somewhere around like 6 to 8 months in recovery, my weight had like stabilized, and I had gotten to a place where like I think I felt like my metabolism was like healing, because
Mm,
part of what happens in recovery when you first start is like the first year, even like the first 5 years are like really, like they can be really rough, because your body is basically like trying to reset itself, and you're trying to relearn your hunger and fullness cues. And for me, like, because I was coming from a binge restrict cycle, like I didn't know what my body was meant to be at. Like I didn't know what my weight set point was. I didn't
yeah.
know like where my body wanted to sit at, like, so I was always really afraid of like recovering into a bigger body. Like I was always like so afraid of that, and I had to let that go in order to like pursue recovery. But I got to a point where I had been eating normally and like had only really exhibited like a few behaviors in the course of like I think it was like maybe 8 months by that point. And it was the summertime, and I was like putting on, I think, like my summer clothes and realizing that they like fit fine, and that I
Yeah.
didn't have to like worry about going and buying a bigger size, and my body had like settled into a weight where it felt comfortable and it wasn't really like fluctuating very much. And I just kind of like realized, oh, like I've been cooking a lot, and I've been eating my dessert, and I've been like dancing and going for walks when I want to and not because I have to, and like my body has stayed the same. Like I haven't
Yeah.
gained weight, I haven't lost weight. Like it just felt like finally I was able to just be normal.
Totally. And you said you're still working on like body confidence, but what's helped you with that?
Um oh man, I honestly don't know. I mean, I think it's hard because as a performer, like I'm constantly seeing myself either on a camera or on
Mm.
stage, and it's hard not to be like judgmental. Like it's hard not to think about like, oh, the way I'm sitting, my posture, my stomach, whatever. But I think something that has made me kind of rethink things, and I've said this a few times on my podcast, is like I get very existential with it when I start
Mm.
to think about like my body, my tummy, my arms, whatever, I start to think about like, okay, I'm sitting in this house right now. I'm sitting in Denver, Colorado, a place where I've chosen to live. I'm 29 years old. I'm living on a planet that's floating in the middle of fucking who knows what. And I don't know why I was sent to this earth. I don't know what's happening when I die. I don't know what the point of this life is,
Yeah,
you know? So it's like, why would I spend this time worrying about like a roll in my belly or a stretch mark on my thigh when like I know no one else gives a fuck? Especially because
totally.
like I have learned that I've really decentered men from my life, and I've really like stopped using male validation as any sort of confidence builder and started really seeking more of like validation from women and like validation from my accomplishments as a person. And so even through like dance or just having a podcast or my creative like outlets, I try to think about like, okay, so yeah, maybe I look like I have a double chin right now, but like, does that have anything to do with my job performance? Does that have
Right.
anything to do with my ability to dance? Like, I've never not gotten a job for like being curvy. I've never, you know, like not gotten a guy from, you know,
Mhm.
having like flabby arms. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I try to like really
Totally.
zoom out as much as I can.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And I something that I feel like I do the same where I like think about my death and I'm like on my deathbed, will I want to have thought about my roles, my arms in that
Mm-hmm.
picture, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
And something also that reminds me that like to that I want to be different and like not in my restrict binge state is like talking to older women and when an older woman who like my mom say like she's in her I won't say her age, she'll kill me, but she's she's older than me because she birds me. And when she'll be like complaining about her body and I'm like, "Oh my god, like that's me in 30 years." Like and I still am
Yeah.
complaining about it. I don't want that to be like the mental space I'm spending on I want to just be happy and okay with how I look.
Yeah, I also have a mom who is very, very, very deep in diet culture and unfortunately, like, is never going to break out of it.
Yeah.
And when I visit her or when I even just talk to her and I hear the way she talks about food or the way that she talks about her body, it makes me really sad because I'm like,
Yeah.
you're retired. Like, you're like, my mom's in the Bahamas right now with my dad. Like, they
Oh
just
my
took their
god.
boat down there. Like, they're like
Amazing.
living their life. And she's talking about, like, oh, I just, you know, I drank a margarita. I have to be good for the rest of the day. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, you're
That's
retired. You have a
exhausting.
husband.
Yeah.
Like, what are you who are you doing it for? You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
what are you really accomplishing? So yeah, I think about that too. And I'm like, I don't want to turn into that.
Yeah, you're like, "I wanna free myself from this first so I can, like, actually enjoy things, enjoy being in the
Hmm.
Bahamas when I get there."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like no one is looking at you thinking, "Oh my god, like I'm so glad I don't have that body." You know what I
Right.
mean? Like no one like and if they are, that means that they have their own incredible amount of insecurities or an eating disorder or whatever and it's like that sucks for them.
Totally, and it's I love that you mentioned, like, decentering the male gaze because I think that that is something that at least for me, I was doing things for validation, like, with men, and then when I started being like, "This is for me," it was, um it just made me realize, like, what I like about myself instead of thinking like, "Oh, I have tiny tits, like, what man is gonna like that?" or whatever.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
what was the catalyst for you decentering the male gaze?
Doing comedy probably.
Being around men.
Um yeah, I just like it's interesting because I think so many dominoes have fallen in the last few years for me that have gotten me to this place. But like, um, I came out as bi a few years ago, like when I was doing comedy. And then I didn't really get a chance to explore my queerness before I started dating my last partner who I was with for like 2.5 years, who was like a straight dude, like great person, love him, you know what I mean? Like, I ended up realizing that I needed to like explore my queerness, and I just like, I think that he was such a good person, and he was also helping me kind of realize that men are idiots, that like I started getting all this attention like online,
Mhm.
and specifically from men, because what happens when you're a woman online, especially you're a female comedian, is just horrendous. I mean, it's either you're too hot to be a comedian, you're too ugly, you're not funny, you only tell sex jokes, your jokes about periods are stupid, blah blah blah. Like there's never like there's no through line. It's always just
Totally.
like this shitstorm of like male privilege in my comment section. And I realized like there were going to be men who thought that I was the most hilarious and beautiful woman in the world. There were going to be men who thought that I was disgusting. I mean, there are men who literally have told me like I shouldn't do comedy because I was too fat. Like there have been men who told me that I should get rid of my fupa if I'm going to
Oh
do
my
sex jokes.
god.
And then there have been men who are like, "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I would marry you in a heartbeat." And like I just realized how disgusting it all was. And
Yeah.
I started to feel really grossed out by like every interaction I started having with men online and in person,
Mhm.
because unfortunately, I've also dealt with like a lot of misogyny from like producers, club owners,
Right.
hosts, other fellow comedians, just saying wild shit that doesn't belong in the workplace. And so I think when I moved back to Denver and I like started dancing again, and I kind of like started my recovery, and I started thinking about like, where do I want to seek my validation from? I don't want to
Mhm.
seek it from men anymore. It was almost like a light bulb went off in my head where I was like, "Oh yeah, like men's opinions of me literally don't matter." Because
Yeah.
like whether they think I'm ugly or hot or funny or not, like I'm still going to be successful because I work hard, and it has nothing to do with like my value as a human, especially cuz I was in a relationship for so long and
Mhm.
was like getting validation from him. Whereas now like I want validation from like other women. Like I want them to be like, "Oh my god, I love your outfit," or "Your hair looks so
Mhm.
cute," or like, "Oh, like I love that you do this you know, whatever." Like I go to dance class and I feel validated just by being around other women who are like shaking their ass. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like sharing something on social media and seeing that like other girls are there agreeing with me or liking it or whatever, like that makes me feel so much more accepted.
Total.
Um
Well, being seen out.
especially be
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Especially because no, sorry, I just realized like I feel like every girl goes through their pick me phase. And for me, I was a pick me for a very long time because I had a mom who was a pick me,
Mhm.
and my mom did not have stable female relationships, and they were very volatile, and she taught me not to trust women. She taught me that like
Wow.
women are disappointing, women are catty. And so anytime my mom had a falling out with a female friend, I always heard about it, and I heard about, "Oh, all women are like this." And so I just never really like I never really prioritized female friendships because I thought my mom was right, and then I got older and I realized, "Oh no, that's fucked up." So, yeah, a lot kind of fell into the in place for me to like decenter men, I think.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting. The comments you said you got, they were both, even when they were good, they were still like sexualizing you. Like
Mhm.
like the bad ones were saying like, I don't view you as a sex object bad. The good ones are saying I do view you as a sex object bad. Like
Yeah.
and it's like it's so exhausting to be like, oh, I have to, my place in this world is whether like men view me as a sex object or not. And it's like
Yeah.
it's it's also like, what if I don't even I don't wanna be that? You and at that time, you were like, "I was in a relationship." Like, what? I don't even
Yeah.
like and and so being around women is just this, like, freeing, even when you're attracted to women or, like, they're attracted to you, but, like, their first thought, I don't think like, I'm attracted to women and I'm bi, but, like, my first thought when I see a woman is never, like, sex object. What is your worth to me based
Right.
on how sexy
Yeah.
you are? And so it's such a
Yeah.
like, surrounding yourself with people who just like you for you is such a freeing experience.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I now am at this place where like lately what I've been talking a lot about in therapy is like, am I gay enough? Am I like queer enough to belong in the space? Especially because like I haven't really like I've gone on like 2 dates with 2 women in my
Yeah.
lifetime and that's like it. Like I haven't had a lot of experience and I think I'm learning through being a part of the queer community that like there's so much more to us as human beings than like our sexuality or like the way we present or
Mhm.
who we love or how we see each other. Like I'm probably rambling at this point, but I don't know.
No.
I just I am I feel so much more like full and excited when I'm around people who want to like live life and be empathetic and help other people versus like I feel like when I've been around, you know, straight men, not that there's not good ones, of course there's good ones, but most of the time I just feel like, "Oh, you're looking at me and you're looking at my boobs and like you're flirting with me
Mhm.
and like you're not even seeing that I'm here to do comedy or that I'm here to dance or whatever. Like you're just looking at me as an opportunity to like flirt or to do whatever. Like I get catcalled when I go on walks sometimes.
Mm.
And I like don't understand that because like I'll be walking with my headphones in, I'm wearing a baggy t-shirt and leggings, and I'm walking around like a neighborhood in Denver and like I'll get like honked at or like
Yeah,
men who are like in a moving truck will be like, "What's up, girl? What are you doing?" And I'm like, why am I not just like a human being to you? Like why do you have to
totally.
see me as like this sexual conquest? And it's so frustrating that I just fully am like I never want to see another man again.
No, but then you like but it makes sense because of our experiences. Like
Mhm.
that's where it's coming from. And then even if, a man is a good man and we don't experience that with him, often, not always, but they let other men act that way. So it's like it feels
Mhm.
like there's more bad men than not, basically.
Yeah. Well, and I've struggled too with like I never wanted to be like the female comedian that like shit on men all the time,
Mhm.
but it's really hard not to. Like it's
You
really hard not to cuz of course there are good men. Like I have an
totally.
amazing father. Like my last partner is an amazing person and we're still friends. Like I know plenty of fine perfectly great straight men, but the problem is like that's like the bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like to be a great man now, I feel like the
yeah,
bar is so low that it's sad.
totally.
Like the fact that a man like respects a woman or stands up against other men, the fact that that's seen as like, "Oh my god, he's so great." Like, what do you mean? That's like they should be doing that
Right.
anyway.
Bare minimum, please see us as people outside of sex. Like,
Mhm.
what are we doing? Or like, I
Yeah.
hate the like, I have a daughter, so I understand women. It's like you had to have a daughter to like be on women's side. You couldn't just see all the women around you, 50% of the population as a person until you had a daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. I have like no interest in ever dating a man again. I just am like I'm just like so past the point of like dealing
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah, I struggle with the how like the queerness thing too. Like, am I queer enough? Because I'm married to a man, and
Mm,
but it's so interesting that like I just feel like the more boxes we put on ourselves, the harder, like, the more confusing life gets. And when we just like view life more fluidly, it's 'cause I'm like, "Why am I stressing about this?" It's the same with,
yeah.
like, my eating stuff, like, when I'm like, "Okay, this box of, like, body is what I think is acceptable to be in," and then it's like, well, now I'm spending all my time thinking if I fall in this box or not, and it's like, I think it's
Mhm.
so cool when we, like, let the lines blur and just, like, the fluidity of everything, I don't know, has made me feel much better about things.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's funny, I feel like are you an astrology person?
Yes.
I'm going through my Saturn return, and I think that's,
Oh.
like, what is changing so much because Saturn is, like, it takes 30 years or 29 whatever years
Yeah.
to get around the sun, and so when you're born, like, it's in one position, and then Saturn doesn't go back to that position again until you're 29, 30 years old. So
Yeah,
things start to like really come together and you start to have like these really big life changes that really start to set in motion like the rest of your life. And for me, it
totally.
has been so fucking crazy. Just from
Yeah,
like recovery to kind of realizing I may not want to do comedy anymore to like getting out of a long-term relationship to finally being honest with myself about like my queerness and like exploring that and doing dance again, getting back into acting, like everything is changing.
yeah, it makes sense that we have the like 30 like crisis that everyone has. Like, is this what I want to
Mhm.
be doing with my life because of our
Yeah.
Saturn return? I've never put that together before. What is your sun and rising signs?
I'm a Scorpio sun, I'm a Sagittarius moon and a Taurus rising.
Wow, you got
So
a lot of
she's an
different
intense gal.
yeah, a lot of different stuff. I'm Scorpio rising and moon. Um,
Oh wow, okay.
yeah. Yes, that's
What's
because
your
they also
sun?
Virgo.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, very intense.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm crazy. No, but so very intense. But no, that's interesting to put it in that those words. And so when you started surrounding yourself with like women, did that inherently make you feel better about your body?
You know what? Yeah, because the dance studio I go to, it's called Hard Candy, and it's a pole and burlesque studio. So
Cool.
there's a lot of classes that are like I love Marquis, the owner. She likes to give them like funny names. So it's called like one of them is called Hex Appeal, and it's like a very witchy like slutty dance. Or
Love
there's one
that.
that's called like Filthy Flow, or like I go to one on Wednesdays called Sugar and Stilettos, and it's like all of these classes are mostly women. There are some like men who show up and it's open to everyone obviously,
Mhm.
but like something I've noticed is that especially when you're doing pole, like you don't wear a lot of clothing because you need to have skin on the pole in order to like,
Right.
grip it. And same thing with burlesque, like you're doing sensual movement, you're wearing heels, like so you're not wearing a ton of clothing. And there are all kinds of bodies that show up to the dance studio because it's all levels. So there are people who are beginner level who are wearing, a bathing suit top and like little booty shorts. There are people showing up who are like wearing thongs with like fishnets to go to burlesque jazz. And I was really afraid to do that at first. I've always
Mhm.
been a t-shirt and sweatpants gal, especially in dance because I was a hip hop dancer for so long. But within the last few months, I actually started like really pushing myself to wear like outfits that made me feel cute and girly to
Yeah.
dance in. And it's like changed my relationship with like how I dance, but also how I see myself. Because like then
Mhm.
when I have other women that are like, oh my God, like this girl was like, I didn't know you had such a nice ass. And I'm like, oh wow, thanks. You know what I mean? Like it makes me feel so valid because it's like, yeah, I may not be like the skinniest little girl here, or I may not be like the youngest person here, but
Mhm.
like I'm still killing it and I'm still wearing what I want. And it's helped me see that everybody can be beautiful and everybody can
Yeah.
like dance and like, I don't know, get movement into a story that doesn't have to be from like a thin, tall body, like all, dancers are.
Totally. Well, and I feel like just thinking of dancing in burlesque, like I've never seen a dancer who was feeling themselves and I wasn't feeling them or thinking they looked
Yeah.
beautiful. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
someone feels confident, I mean, it's just like there's no thought that goes through your mind that's like, oh, I mean, I never think this anyway, but like there's nothing like look at their body. It's just like look how stunning they look. Look how much
Mhm.
they know themselves.
Mhm. Yeah, and burlesque is cool because a lot of the time like burlesque dancers like are a lot more like curvy or are a lot more like part of a minority in like the body type that they have, and I think that's what makes it so like interesting to watch. Because you'll see like obviously really like lean dancers who can
Mhm.
go up a pole and fucking do a million tricks and it's like beautiful and amazing. And then you'll see someone who's like a little bit curvier, who's like fucking throwing her ass around the place. And it's like also so cool to watch.
Yeah. Yeah,
There
it's
was
cool.
a, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say there was a comedian on like a podcast. I can't remember if I saw this clip on TikTok or something, but it was a guy, obviously. And he was like, burlesque is just an excuse for fat women to strip. And I thought it was such a weird, like, reductive thing to say because I'm like, first of all, burlesque isn't like just stripping. Like, some
Yeah,
burlesque dancers
100%.
don't even strip. Like, some of it is just like you're in an outfit and you dance and you get off stage. Like, not everyone strips during burlesque. And also, like, there are all kinds of body types that are doing it. And it's not like this reductive art form that they're saying is just like stripping. Not that there's anything wrong with stripping, but like it's comedy and it's character and it's
Right.
drag and it's, I don't know, it's so much more.
Also, just like, what a weird hill to die on. Why are you so obsessed with us? Like,
Yeah, like what a sad thing to say. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
ugh, get a life.
get a life. That's what I always think about the reply guys, any of them. It's just like, get a life. You
Mm,
have sad things going on with yourself, and so you need like to feel like you have a little power in life, and so that's why you're being a
yeah,
weirdo in the comments. But
yeah.
I just think that community is such a cool thing, and doing things that are good for your mental health are just going to like bleed into body acceptance and like the way like it sounds like you're doing a really great job of doing things that make you feel good like dancing and surrounding yourself with good people. So I just feel like that's really impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, it's definitely been hard. I mean, I think like going through a big career shift is really difficult,
Mhm.
especially comedy is very there's a lot of ego involved and there's a lot of like pressure involved to go to all the open mics and do all the things and write all the
Mhm.
jokes and post online and it's a very very big undertaking to pursue being a stand-up comedian and so I think letting go of some of the expectations that I might have put on myself or that other people might have of me has helped me realize like I'm allowed to make decisions based on what makes me happy
Yeah.
and I'm allowed to live my life the way I want to live because again, like if I'm going to be 70, 80 years old on my deathbed thinking about did I live my life to the fullest? Am I going to be happy if I spent my whole life thinking about the guys in the comment section? No.
Totally. 100%. I yeah, that's why I love looking at my looking at my deathbed, thinking about it, being like, "Is this something I'm gonna be happy about on my deathbed? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Leave it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like life is like so short. Like we don't know
Right.
what's happening after this. Like why would we waste it?
Right, my body, like, isn't like, once I die, my body's not even like, I should appreciate it now because it's only gonna be
Mhm.
doing its thing for such a short amount of time.
Right,
Um,
right.
I feel like you've given such good insight, and is there any, like, lasting advice you would love like to give before we move on to send it to the sewers about just, like, for anyone going through recovery and maybe having some good days, some bad days?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of like how to articulate this cuz it might sound obvious. Like I think the thing that I wish more people would think about when it comes to recovery is like being a little more selfish
Mm,
and knowing that like it's okay to be selfish when it comes to like your health and your happiness. Um if subscribing to like diet culture or to the pressures to look a certain way or be a certain way makes you feel bad, then that's probably an indication that it's not for you. And
yeah.
it's okay to say, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, it's okay to like not follow the wellness influencers that make you feel like shit. It's okay to not buy the latest protein snack that's on the market. It's okay to like not it's okay to like block the Kardashians. Like it's okay
Right.
to choose yourself over popular culture because I think now, especially with social media, we are so pressured to like certain things and be a part of certain conversations and admire certain people. But it's like, no, if that person makes you feel bad, if that trend doesn't make you feel good, then like protect your peace. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if there are friends in your life that don't understand why you would like choose to pursue recovery or like choose to I don't know, like not do something to your body versus doing it, then like that person doesn't really need to be in your life.
I love that. I feel like we're so rarely told to be selfish, and I think it's such good
Mhm.
advice around things like this. Like, I think that's so smart and so especially at this time where like toxic diet culture is, I mean, all I think all diet culture is toxic. So it's like a hat on a hat. But like when it's rising and like it's becoming impossible to get away from, it's so like good to remind yourself like I don't have to. I'm okay to choose me. I don't have to engage in this or engage in what like society is
Mhm.
telling me I need to do.
Yeah, like I think it's okay, and it's also important to like either ignore it or call it out. Like when I'm in a group
Hmm.
of people at like an event or out to dinner or something, and someone makes a comment about like needing to be good and eat a salad, or
Yeah.
oh, I can't have dessert, I didn't exercise today. Like it's okay to like not respond, and it's
Yeah.
also okay to be like, "Hey, why do you feel the need to say that?" Or like, "Why do you say that about yourself?" Like there was a
What?
guy that
Yeah.
was standing in line at the grocery store the other day, and he was in front of me, and he was like, "Is it okay if I go and grab something real fast?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're fine." So he went and he grabbed a Snickers bar, and he came back and he's like, "I know I shouldn't have this, but I'm just going to take it." And I said to him, I'm like, food doesn't have to be good or bad. It's
Yep.
just food, and today's Sunday. Like it doesn't
What
matter. Like, and he was like,
whatever
"Thank
makes
you
you
for
feel good
saying
is
that."
good. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and it's sad that like sometimes we feel the need to like almost back up our choices to like
Right.
or validate our choices by like saying something to someone else. Like you can't just like order something and be like, "Yeah, I'm just eating a burger and fries." It's like, no, you have to say to someone like, "I'm only getting this cuz I went for a run this morning," or whatever. Like
Right.
you don't need to do that.
That's still one of my biggest I feel like in LA, actually, a lot of the workout instructors have done a really good job at getting away from it. But there's the occasional who be like, "We're working off that margarita from last night or whatever." I'll
Ugh,
be like,
God.
"No, I'm working for me.
Yeah.
I'm working because my legs feel good when I work." Like,
Yeah, yeah, getting away from the idea of like burning calories is
mhm,
is has been very helpful for me in terms of like movement and stuff. So, you got to
100%.
do
Just
it.
doing what makes you feel good. And it's funny that you mentioned the protein. My send it to the sewers 2 weeks ago, I think, was, like, protein all protein foods, being like, "I can't drink
Yeah.
wine without it being, like, protein wine." It's like, "Let me just enjoy myself."
Yeah, it's like Khloe Kardashian comes out with like protein
Cloud.
popcorn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can we just fucking live? Like this popcorn's probably gonna make you shit your pants because of all the chemicals in it. Like I guarantee it's not good for you.
In the way
Like if you
popcorn works, it's the seasoning's always at the bottom, so am I gonna, like, chug the protein out of the
Yeah,
bottom of the
ew.
bag?
Yeah, like instead of why don't you just eat popcorn and then eat something that has protein with it? Like I don't
Right.
understand. Yeah.
Like a
So stupid.
non-processed, like, like
Yeah.
these protein things are like I used to eat a protein Cliff Bar every day because I was like, I need it. And then I couldn't shit. And I was like, what's wrong with my body? And it's
Yeah.
fine. Any processed food is totally fine, but I just like was having a bad reaction to it, which is why it's not fine for me. And like it was just like, oh, because your body's not used to this like concentrate, whatever amount of protein at one time is happening.
Yeah. 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 Ugh, it's so frustrating and stupid.
It's so stupid, and I just wanna eat a cookie without it tasting like chalk. I want it to be a normal cookie
Exactly.
and not
God
a protein
forbid.
cookie.
Yeah.
So getting into send it to the sewers, this is the segment where we send something from the week to the sewers. Would you like me to go first and then see if
Yes, you go
you
first.
spark anything? Okay. I'm sending to the sewers, um, like, non-dairy milk costing more at the coffee shop. I'm already not going to the
That's
coffee
a good
shop
one.
often because it's so expensive and I just need to be able to afford to live, and it's getting in the way of that. But then when I do go and because I'm not vegetarian or I'm not vegan, and I'm not lactose intolerant. I'm just an ally to those who are, and I like almond milk better than regular milk. And
Mm.
when I go and they're like, it's $2 extra, I'm like, I'm just trying to live. And what about my brothers and sisters who are lactose intolerant? Like you're charging them
Yeah.
more for not having tummy issues.
Yeah, that's so frustrating.
Yeah, it's become It makes coffees like $10. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, dude, there's like rarely a day now where if you even get a small coffee that it's less than like 6 or $7 and then you have to
It's
tip.
crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, I just feel that I just don't like the taste of whole milk. But I'm like, do I
same.
start just committing to it because it's $2 less? Maybe.
I know, it's so weird. It's so gross.
I know. I feel like I swear I can feel like taste chunks in it. I don't know why.
For me, it's like it's like even skim milk or even the
Mhm.
2% or whatever, it's still just like you can just tell that it's dairy
Yeah, it's so
and that's
thick.
what tastes gross. But what's weird is like I'll eat ice cream every day
Oh, and cheese. I
or like
love
cheese.
cheese.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like for some reason, whole milk, but can't
the
do it.
liquid form of milk. I don't know, which I guess
Yeah.
is its original form, but like to me just seems foreign.
Yeah. 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 It's super weird. It's super weird.
Super weird. Do you wanna send anything to the sewers?
Yeah, I bought a house in December and like now I'm
Congrats.
getting to the point, thank you, where like it's spring, like things are blooming and I have so many fucking weeds everywhere. And like I need to send weeding to the sewers because I know I'm supposed to do it and I've done it, but like every time I like pull a weed somewhere, another one pops up elsewhere. And I'm just like, I don't want to spray chemicals everywhere. Like, I don't want to like poison the earth,
Mhm.
but I'm like, where are all these weeds coming from? And they're like, I know they're not really like harmful. Like, they're not doing anything bad, but they're like in the cracks of my driveway. And I'm just like, what? This is gross.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's all I want in my life is to be able to own a home, which in LA, not gonna happen, but, like,
Yeah.
then once you do, you got all this responsibility.
I know, like, I like have to mow my lawn now. Like today, I have to go mow my lawn after this. Like, I'm like,
That's
fuck, like, I
crazy.
hate doing it. I hate it.
Do you have, like, the push, or are you on a little seat?
Oh no, I have a push. My yard's not big enough to have one of those guys, but I luckily they have like lawnmowers now that are like battery operated,
Oh,
so you
hell
can like
yeah.
just charge a big ass battery and like pop it in there. But I'm like learning the technique of like how to do it, and like so some patches are still longer than others, and I'm like this is just not working out.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, it's so impressive that you own a home, but 2, those weeds, I don't know. At some point, it's like, do you just be like, "I guess this is what you guys do. We're a
Yeah, I'm
weedy
just like I guess you
household."
live here now. I guess you're my
Yeah,
roommates. I don't know.
we're sharing the space.
Yeah, we're sharing it.
At least pay rent, like
Yeah, there's not I mean, some of them are dandelions, which I'm fine with, but most of them are these, like, weird spiky boys that I have to wear
I've
gloves to
seen
pull out,
those.
so they're
Yeah,
gross, yeah.
yeah. No, that's so unfortunate. No, that's I feel like I've gotten to the stage where the older people in my life are starting to move into, like, apartments and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, it's so nice because the lack of yard work," and I'm like, "Oh, I feel like I should
Mm.
appreciate that, like,
Yeah,
living in my
yeah.
apartment."
You should. You definitely should.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Where can the people, the listeners, the feral friends find you?
Yeah, I'm just Morgan Lorraine Gallo on everything. Usually if you just look up Morgan Gallo, it'll pop up. But yeah, Morgan Lorraine Gallo on all of the things. My podcast is called My Body, My Jokes. And that's pretty much it.
Amazing. Everyone check Morgan out. She is super fun online, and I'm so glad we got to talk to you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, okay. Bye, feral friends. Please rate us and review us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.